Hello, Internet. It is your host, Ja. I'm at the crib, chilling. And, when the world is so chaotic, hectic, and filled with doom, I think you turn to nature. And today, I looked at my local news. You know what I see? I see the chimps are fighting too, man. Our closest relative. It must be ingrained in us Homo sapiens. Well, evolution states that our closest relatives are the bonobos. And one of the ways they deal with conflict, if you didn't know, is lesbian intercourse. They'll just, have a little arrangement, let out the stress, and all is well. But we're not like bonobos. We're closer to chimps. Chimpanzees have, ironically, guerrilla warfare. Okay? These creatures have territory. And for some reason, even in our political climate, we have leftists and liberals who are against borders and immigration policy and due process. But chimpanzees in the forest of the Congo have borders, and they have territory, and they make sure to keep it. And they're they don't have diplomacy like we have. They don't have peace negotiations. They don't try to get a ceasefire like Trump is trying to have with Iran. No. These boys fight it out. They duke it out. And I want to talk a little bit about that, diverge from all this political news and stuff like that, and look at something a little lighthearted. I'm just kidding. The shit I'm about to talk about and show is brutal, gruesome, and it's a chimp eat chimp world out here. And let's talk about it. And it also delves into my last series of The Fall of America. There's subversion, there's espionage, there's incursions, there's all of the sorts. It's very fascinating, but let's dive into it. So active. It's a beautiful day out. The trees are green, the birds are out singing, and weather's finally turning up. But let's talk about, before the warfare, how chimps communicate, because I think that's important. Chimps are sophisticated animals. They talk in many means such as visualization, gestures, body posture, vocalizations. So they grunt, they'll show their teeth, and actually smiling for gorillas in chimpanzees is actually a form of intimidation. It's gnashing of the teeth. So they do stuff like that. They communicate together with, they have alarms. Like, for example, if the enemy is crossing the line and someone is spot that because they have outposts, which I'll get into, they'll set an alarm. We have nuke alarms. They just wail.
With sound. Mark had no idea what was happening. The chimps could be getting ready to head out on territorial patrol. The males could be practicing dominance displays, or there could be tension in amongst the males caused by certain females coming into estrus.
Probably just put videos and audio clips of it, but it's insane. Let's talk about how they keep the border and how they progress the trenches, if you would. It is actually something of outpost instead of visual outpost where they have binoculars and they're looking for smoke in the air, like some native warfare or something like that. It's auditory. They use noises because, like I've said, they don't use words. Maybe they whisper, I don't know, but they are very loud when they do it. So there are designated chimps. And these chimps, let me draw this real quick, boys. I'm not an artist, but I think this gets the point across very well. Let's say they want water. You know, everyone needs to drink water. You see this right here? This is a hill. This is some type of mountaintop, some type of rock formation. And the chimp right here is still. It's a single chimp just prowling. Well, he's not moving actually, excuse me. He's stationed there and he's just listening because the chimps here, these are trees and such, to mark their territory, they bang, they'll hit drums, they'll smack the trees, and it's an intimidation. You know, when we go to war, we literally bang drums that we're coming, or we have banners up. They do that. They don't build nothing. They use their environment, which will be a next video of how they use their environment as well. But these chimps are just listening. And these are spies, like I've said. They're collecting information. They may come up close. There might be cover over here. Can't really see. Let's say these trees, this is water. There might be stuff around here. And they'll get that close. But they don't ever go past the border. And I'll tell you why. Because the way they keep their borders, unlike us, well, actually, no. Trump actually militarized a big portion of our border around Texas and whatnot, Arizona, stuff like that. I'm just, poking fun of politics right now. It's the animal kingdom now. It's the big dogs. The way perimeters are set is there's a patrol. I'm telling you, these animals are sophisticated. They think, they have strategy, and they want to keep their land, okay? They don't like immigration. They don't like assimilation. They want their land for their people, their chiefs, their women, their children. And the way perimeters are set, one second, boys. Technical difficulties here. Right now I'm drawing a border with trees. Because if anyone has spent a second out in the woods, which I hope you guys do, it is thick and it's hard to see past. But there's always breaks in the tree line, and they take advantage of this. A border, okay? Borders here is set. Once the border is set, the way they keep it is, like I've said, these animals are not so sophisticated where they'll literally put like a wall or something like that. They use their environment, and they are of the environment. Just like a dog marks their territory with their piss, a chimp does the same thing. They use their piss by any means necessary. They use themselves because that's all they have. They use body odor. They have said their fecal matter, stuff like that. And because they have a strong nose, sense of smell, so they have that border. And when when chimpanzees encroach on that, before they even get to their territory, they smell it and they hear it as well. But they also control their border physically. They use, not a battalion, they have a service unit, they have a military unit, and they patrol the perimeter, and they do it in shifts. They ensure that their border is never broken by being there. They're always present. I'm sure just how chimpanzees are outside listening in, there are people inside listening for the out. People foraging, people walking along. Like, these animals have strong senses, and they use the most of it because that's all they can rely on. Boys, it's so funny. As I do my research more and more, these chimps really are like us. It's funny. Like, they distribute the territory by of the resources they actually have, okay? They don't try to promise something they don't have. They don't make loans. They don't make peace treaties. Well, actually, I'll get into that in another episode. These creatures allocate funds and resources by means of, communism in a way. There's the dominant alpha male. These are the biggest. These are maybe the strategist of the commune, you could say. They are the ones that lead the patrol. So they're not just there like Simba or like an alpha lion of a pride that do nothing. They are actively working, and they lead the troops around the border. Another reason for this and such care for territory is, like I've said, it's funny. Like us, not just the males, the females as well. These hoes, no, I'm just kidding. The females will switch up. They will, it's hypergamy. They'll try to get the male that has the best territory with the best funds and the best domination over others. So, and that, like I've said, evolutionary is important to keep their seed spreading. They want to make sure they have the most females here, and the females want to make sure their children will be safe the most, just like us. That's why we have borders and laws and all that. And when we don't respect those laws, the quality of life for our females and children are worsened, and it should not be like that. And I say this can even be manufactured because, let's say the war, sorry to get political here, not, but as the war is progressing and maybe more men are needed here, the immigrants that are here undocumented will reap the spoils of war without ever picking up a gun, because the men have left and the territory is now open. So be vigilant, spread awareness, and let's not die for other countries. This is America. We die here. No, I'm just kidding. But we try to prosper and continue our legacy here. So make the most of it. Don't let this blessed nation go to waste. And don't take this nation for granted, okay? There's a lot of opportunities, but you need to make the most of it. Right now, you don't fight like these chimps. You use your mind over matter, and you network, which these chimpanzees also network. It's insane. Let's make the most of this nation that we have been given. And as the saint, I'll put his name here, he prophesied that this nation will be holy. And I pray the same prayer as well, and the same hope. And I thank you for all the service members and all the people that are the first responders. Because I'm the luxury to talk about chimpanzees throwing shit at each other. So, let me continue that. The females want the best suitable man for them. And what the man provides for the woman is the territory. So this territory is very important. And they have skirmishes, and they'll have lethal confrontations with each other. But that's for the next video. Tune in for that one. It's going to be a good one, and it'll be here very shortly. Thank you for watching. It's been your host, Ja, on the yard. Shout out Ludwig. And thanks for watching. Go out in nature. See a chimp fight each other.